What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bsfr podcast. It's your host assist with the most assist, Airi, Angel, and
What's
Dana.
up?
And today we are talking about drumroll, please. Nobody gonna do the drum roll.
You
Self
did the drum.
sabotage.
You did the drum roll. You did it.
Okay, I'm fine. And a little extra support would have been helpful, but fine. We're talking about self sabotage today, guys. Self saboteur. Lots of people do it. Um, first question: do you know what sabotage mean? I know what self sabotage mean,
Why don't you
but
tell?
what does sabotage mean?
Tell us.
I'm asking because I want to know.
Sabotage is let me get y'all right to the definition because I don't be
Probably
making
like
stuff. It says destructive or obstructive action carried on, an active process tending to hamper or hurt, deliberate subversion.
So there's no positive connotation to sabotage, is it? No.
No, not that I know of.
So that means self sabotage is you're destroying yourself. Ooh, that's a word.
Yeah, things that you do in order to deliberately harm, delay, or hamper.
But are you always aware of self sabotage?
I think I think sometimes you can be and sometimes you don't know that you're doing something because it's become so much of a habit. But there is moments that you know that you're kind of like self-sabotaging because like you ever just had those moments where you like you could be doing better, you know what you need to do, but then yet you're not doing it, and that's kind of like self-sabotage because you know to get to that thing it's going to require discipline, etc., but you like, oh, and and then it kind of mix in with like, you got procrastination, but self-sabotage, a relationship, you start doing stuff because you want to argue with them so that way they can leave, and just all this other stuff. Like it can go however. But there is times that you know that you are self-sabotaging. Some people don't know, but
Was there anything like y'all do know of yourselves that y'all like, I know I could do better. I know I could like be here, but
that would qualify as self-sabotage.
I'm trying to think stuff. So wait, stuff that we do that we know
that you know you're self sabotaging yourself with.
I wouldn't say this is like self-sabotage. I just don't trust people. And I got commitment issues,
But
but
what do
isn't
you
that
do?
that?
No, but what do you do that like kind of like feeds that? Feeds the trust, not trusting people.
I don't be doing nothing. It's still. So I would have to say I can't really think of anything.
Okay.
But I have been told, okay, here's the thing. I have been told that I am self-sabotaging because it's like I'm projecting or assuming a situation because it's like it's been said to me like in relationships or whatever, like it's like you want it to be a problem, and it's like you're picking, and it's like you want it to be a problem so that way we can get into it so it can justify that you really don't want to be in this relationship, if that makes sense.
So
Would that be
doing it,
self-sabotaging?
so pushing you away before you can do it to me. So like kind of putting like a barrier before somebody can do something to you. It's like I want to say defense mechanism, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, not a
So
healthy
it's
one,
some things
but
that I
you do it.
heard, or like you push people to the point that you want them to like you want them to not like you, to leave, so that way you can say everybody leaves me.
So you can confirm that insecurity.
Yeah.
Dang, that's deep. Have you ever felt like a time in your life? Okay, amen. Sorry, I just instantly wanted to go into song, and I don't know why. I should have been a theater kid, honestly. If we really think about it, that really might have been where I messed up in life. I didn't go to theater, but I
Yes, you
see. I
did.
see.
Yes, you did. Wasn't you in a choir and stuff like that?
You was in band, wasn't you?
So I'm like, wasn't you in a
Played the
play?
trombone.
I'm like, yes, you
But
were.
I
This is
wasn't
not
a
the
theater
topic.
kid.
This is not the topic. Go ahead.
We'll touch on that another day.
I think all of us had a
Should
violin
Angel have
though.
been in theater?
No,
That could be a topic.
Y'all remember when Damon had a violin?
I do, and he never played it.
Did he break it?
He
Yes,
broke
and
the
he wasn't
strings.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not good at all.
Y'all wouldn't let me practice my cello in the house. Talking about something, turn that off. Y'all didn't even give me a chance. See, that
What made you pick a
stems from
cello?
trauma.
Out of all the
Big
things,
old.
you come on with a big old cello. Make that make sense.
It's a beautiful instrument. If you listen to cellos, put everything together.
She in there
Honestly,
like, cross buns, high cross buns.
see, you know what?
But what was the question you
And
was
I
gonna
was
ask?
self sabotage because I never let myself get to that place. Cause y'all broke me down.
What is the
All
question?
right. Okay. Well, I think for me, I don't know. I think the self-sabotage thing stems from insecurities and trauma, but insecurities stem from trauma though.
Self-sabotage can also stem from a fear of success or fear of failure. Like sometimes people self-sabotage, like a prime, oh, you know, which are like a good examples. I don't know if any of y'all watch Shameless, but I think Fiona was like a prime example of a self-sabotager. Like
Mm-hmm.
anything that could possibly, did you watch Shameless, Dana?
A little.
Anything that could possibly be going in the right direction for her, it was like her purpose to do the
Mm-hmm.
opposite, to make it be like a, why, like we're back to struggling. You find a good dude, is working, oh, let me mess with his brother. Why? Like literally why? It was just like a, it was like a, almost like she had this mindset like I can't have something
Mm-hmm.
good. And then Lip end up going into the same thing in college, everything
Mm-hmm.
great. Why
He
have
was
an
on the
affair with your
road.
professor? Why? Just literally why? Like literally why? Debbie, it was just everybody
Yeah.
experienced those. That's like a prime example of like when you think of like self-sabotage in a
Dang.
physical form. Shameless is that show. They did everything to get in their own way. That was like a, okay, we just got $50 million. Anybody who watched freaking Outer Banks, no spoilers, but anybody who watched Outer Banks, JJ was a self-sabotager.
Stupid.
It was just like a, I want us to stay in this is what
This
makes us
poverty,
us, so
huh?
we
Yeah.
can't become more.
But that be because, but it be
What,
because
what's
they
the
don't.
face?
What?
All her sound effects.
They add to the effect, but because they don't, they because all these shows that we name in, even think of our own stuff, like it because the environment or what you've seen, what you grow up around, what you grow up around, and what you surround yourself with, even as you get older. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So Fiona, the example of she grew up, her daddy was Frank and Mary. I don't know her mama
Monica.
name.
Monica.
Monica. They was drug addicts, alcoholics,
Scammers.
scammers. They was everything under the sun, and it just was a very neglectful environment. So there's no push to be further, to be better. So no, the kids growing up and stuff, they not gonna think, hey, let me try to do better. Let me try to do this. Let me try to do that. Let me see myself further than where I am now. And I
Right.
think it just creates this lack of vision. If you can't see yourself better, then you're not really gonna try to be better.
You know what is so interesting about that? Because I don't think it has much to do about the vision. People have hope, people have
Mm-hmm.
desires and wants. What people lack is ambition. They lack the drive to get there, because everybody is living, then you wake up the next day because you have a hope for something that eventually you'll get there at some point, but they lack the drive, the boldness, the ambition to get there.
because they don't believe they can get there.
Or not even that they don't believe that they can't get there, but this comes down to a lack of discipline. Some people are looking for instant gratification, that I have this goal, it's on my vision board, I have this faith in God that it should just happen. But just like the word says, faith without works is dead. And also how he speaks about us using our hands, and even just like the mindset thing, it's just like a, if
Mhm.
you lack discipline, that knows in order for you to have a good morning, you have to spend time with God. Those are the days that you felt more at peace. Those are the days you were able to handle your employees better. Those are the days that you were able to walk in to these meetings with a clear mind, that you have to go to bed early, that you're going to have to wake up early, that you might have to cook dinner 2 days before. So that way, it's like people lack discipline to do the
Mhm.
things that are, tedious or not ideal, or not even like super exciting, that will, kind of put into place the system of you reaping the benefits. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Another caveat to that kind of is that we
caveats.
don't it's not always that you lack discipline, it's that you lack the application of the discipline that you have. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? Because somebody, you get up, you go to work, you on time for work, that's discipline. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You make sure you eat every night at the same time, that's discipline. You got kids, they got to go to school, you got to get them there at the same time. You got to pick them up at the same time every day. You got to make sure they eat before they go to bed, even if you don't eat. You have discipline in some place. You're just not applying it to the right place, which also looks like self sabotage, because it's not that you don't have what you need. You're
Mhm.
not using what you have to get what you need.
But why do you think people don't apply it to the right things? So the example of getting up and going to work for 8 hours a day, but when you come home and you have a business that you have a vision, a plan for, why don't you think people apply that discipline, that same discipline to their business or a relationship or whatever? That makes sense.
I think we've been trained to do the opposite. We have
Mm.
this hope for the American dream, at least in America. We have this hope for the American dream, and even other countries they perpetuate the this idea of the American dream, which is why people are risking their lives to get here. You know what I'm saying? Just to bringing their kids across oceans and whatever to get to America to participate in this thing called the American dream, while also being trained up to go to school for this long because they wanted us to work in factories. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a conundrum. You're doing two things at once and hoping for one result when you're gonna get two results. You're gonna get a lazy generation that'll show up to work to pay their bills. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
But you won't get a lot of business minded people because they weren't made or they weren't birthed or what is the word I'm looking
Mo-
for? Groomed to become businesswomen. They weren't groomed to become businessmen. They were groomed to become parents and 9 to 5 workers.
Yeah.
So
Like
anything other than
even
that takes God. You know what I'm saying?
I think what you said made me think about like when we're in school and we think about like economic classes, we think about, us the things that we learn in history. You even think about just a simple math, the math written, dang, it's a word for it. When you're doing a math problem and they got all them words and a couple numbers in it.
Equation.
Math problems. I think they're just called math problems.
Math equation.
When
Okay.
they
When
be
it has
like
an equal
Johnny
sign, it's an
had
equation.
Yep.
I was going somewhere deep with this. I was trying to
Yeah,
say that
you got
these
stuck.
things, like you said, be programmed into us, even just down to the TV shows that we watch. When you see Johnny Test, when you see whatever, their parents are working. Like they are dedicated to the job. When you think of Hannah Montana, not even Hannah Montana, that's a little different. But if you think about any of these other shows, we grew up with parents worked. Parents worked. Like there was no you're finna quit your job. It was she was a lawyer, she was a doctor, he was a nurse, and they were always at work, or it was always work, 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 work. And Disney, they always have at least one parent, but literally only one parent or none at all. But in that one parent, it was just like if we're watching this, we're going to school with this is like a big percentage and chunk of our day, as well as the generations before us that was taught this, that was like work a corporate job. Like once you get into Chevrolet, once you get into Chevy, you don't leave here. Like you're supposed to be here, you retire, that's it. Like there is no do this plus a side hustle, and then if the side hustle gets bigger than the job, leave the job, go get a business, a Dunson barn in Bunsdarn, go get that. Go get that and keep going. Like you aren't taught these things. And I think that's something that we were taught at an early age of a combination of both, because growing up we seen mom literally make her own careers versus work at careers. Like the only job I know that she genuinely worked at was the radio station. And that's literally when I think about like, yeah, mom worked. I hear her when she like, oh yeah, I used to be in the office.
And she got
Okay.
there because she thought she could do it better.
Literally. And then when she got there, she was still wanting more. She wanted to own it. She wanted to buy it. She wanted to, she couldn't go in there and just work. And so
Yeah.
for us, I think that's something that helped with all of us, where we're not content with just working. It's not
For
enough for us. We
sure.
like, huh? Like we grew up with our families. Like to this day, we have aunts and family like that are still in their same house on the same block with each other to this day, from when we were in sixth grade. Like when you put that together, like not, and we're talking about own their house then, that they could have left. And you know what I'm saying? Like we have like literally, like when you
I remember
really
they
think
built the
about it,
porch. That's a picture. I remember when they built it. I was in first grade.
who built the
Auntie
port?
Tanya.
Oh,
Yeah.
you talking about? I'm talking about Ohio family.
Oh no, them too. Auntie Tanya. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
down the street.
Oh, okay,
Dang, they
okay.
was like literally a street next to each other.
They was
That's
on no,
crazy.
it was three of them on the same block. No, four of them
Yeah.
on the same block.
Who was on?
Well,
We was on the
the
next
fourth one,
street.
Yes,
the
we was
fourth
on
one
the
was
next
around
Okay.
the
street.
corner.
Yes,
Okay.
literally around the corner, and we was two streets ahead.
Dang.
Yes. Yes. And even when we was there
They
in that
still there.
same, still there. Even when we was in Ohio, we had went to three. We was in at least three different homes, three different counties too. And this is not to be like, oh, because you
Yeah.
live like
I think it has more of a benefit than it was a deficit.
yeah. At the time, don't get me wrong, that stuff hurted. I didn't talk to my mom for like a good year
I
and a
wanna
half when
live
we
in
moved from
Southgate. Don't
Southgate
know
to
freaking
Ohio.
well.
She had messed up my American dream because y'all, we was in a picture perfect house. We all
Mhm.
had our own rooms. There was no extra kids. She was done at 5. We had a good little system going. The boys here. We had a full basement garage. We had the neighbors downstairs. We were riding the bikes. It was a perfect. I already see who my husband is in this neighborhood. Like
Started
everything's
acting a
together.
fool.
And then stuff started. You know what I'm saying? We had our traditions. Let's go to Caesarland. Let's go to freaking
Dang, them cookies used to
Blockbuster.
smack. Them little cookies, them things used to smack.
No, they was not that. They was not good.
Oh,
Oh,
they
and
used to
from
hit
Little
for me.
Caesars.
Yes, girl.
Yeah, okay. I'm
Okay,
mixing up
I said
Caesar stuff.
Caesarland. Did not,
So
but
I never
I
had
say all of
them.
that to say that, like Dana said, it did more of a
A
benefit
benefit than a
versus a
Benefit.
deficit.
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 Who? Than a deficit. It did it did way more because now look at us. We're not stuck to one place, and it allows us to like expand, as
Mhm.
well as we have the privilege to pivot in our careers, being that all of us have went to college and all of us had goals at one point. I wanted to be in marketing. I wanted to be like being Mary Jane. I even looked into being a
For
pharmaceutical
sure.
technician
Hey,
because I looked at the time, I was just looking at who paid the most. But those
yeah,
things didn't
I
fuel.
can't see it. I couldn't see it at no point in your
Yeah,
life.
behind a thing like okay, so you're gonna take this two times
Counting
a day for
bills.
1 week.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
It's like it's too big for it. But I
Yeah.
think about some people that like some of my friends. They had different circumstances growing up. Is one particular friend had a different circumstance growing up where the mindset was survive. Mindset was survive and like work whatever you can do to make ends meet. It was never a mindset beyond like, oh, I can have a future. I can have a career. I can have like a business. I can do beyond where I'm at now. And so I think as someone who did grow up in the environment we're talking about of an entrepreneur as a mom, I think I tried to like instill, that's the best where I tried to instill in a not the wisest way, try to instill like the you can do this, you can own this. But the question that stems from this is how do you help people who are in that position where they didn't grow up with a mom who owned 20 business, they didn't grow up with a mom who had a bigger mindset. So how do you encourage or not push because you can't push nobody. Yeah, how do you encourage and nudge people in the right direction if that makes sense?
Like you supposed to or something?
Like you don't have to, but I'm saying if you're like if you see like, oh man, they like thinking this way and like I see they could be they could be so much greater. Do you leave them alone or do you like try to like encourage them? Because I'm speaking from my own thing of like I would go like, oh, you can do that. I would look up the stuff. I would go, da, 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 you could do
You would do
this.
the job for them.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Okay,
And that's
here's
the
the
problem.
thing. Here's the thing. You can't give somebody hope. You can't give somebody vision. You can't give somebody ambition, and you can't give somebody a hope for a better future. You can't. If you don't have it, you don't have it. That sounds bad, but
You
you
do, but
don't.
it's not.
It's like
Yep, talk it.
if you don't have it, you don't have it. There's no speech, there's no motivational talk that we could have that would encourage you to think beyond what you've always known. You see what I'm saying? It
Mm-hmm.
just
Hmm.
kind of happens that way. That's just it. It is the way it is what it is.
Makes you
And
cry.
it for it to be something in your mind because that's what it is. Because like we talked about earlier, it's not that you lack discipline. You go to work, you eat, you da da da. You have discipline. But for you not to apply it means that there's a mental something, a mental blockage that's keeping you from being able to applicate it or apply it
Mm-hmm.
to something. And you can't really give that to somebody. But there's a verse that talks about how the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but are mighty through God in the pulling down of strongholds,
Mm-hmm.
which is a crazy statement. Okay, because I feel like we say that and we don't really realize what that means. To God, nothing on this earth, like death, none of that is important. It's your mind. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Which means that God is going after your mind, which means that the devil is also going after your mind. And if your mind is already trapped, it literally takes God to free you. There's no speech that I could get. Like, it literally takes God to walk into the cage, open the door, and for you to let you out. But even then, some of us are in cages with an open door. You can
Speak
leave,
about it.
you can go, but you're in the cage by your own choice, your own volition. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because sometimes it's
And
not about people who
hmm
think about people who grew up with, like, in the top 1%. They be squandering their wealth. Why are you in the jungle? You need to be in college. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is really what they be doing. I'm just gonna go find myself. Your name's on a building. How hard is it to find yourself? You see what I'm saying? Like, no, this is being serious. Your last name's on a building. You can't make somebody get out of a cage. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are in open door cages, and like, you have the option to do better. That's what I was saying. Jesus Christ. That these rich people and their kids, like they've had the good example, the life that we think that we all like. If you haven't seen it, you won't know it. They seen it, they know it. Spend the benefits of it. You'll spend the money, but then also go backpacking through Europe for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the point of that?
I was gonna say, as Dana said, you can't give that to the people. Something that I have been able to do, and that not even did intentionally, but that I noticed, is that you can show somebody better than you can tell somebody. Meaning that you doing the thing that you need to do and experiencing that has been more proof and more encouragement than telling them. So it's like, if we're sitting here like, yo, you can make some money, because naturally people go, well, you ain't making none either. But it's like, I've seen instances where in my own life where it was like, you're going to, again, YouTube, like, you're going to quit college, leave here, single mom, move back home, and do YouTube. Like, my friends was looking at me like, this doesn't make sense. There was more going on at that time: financial aid, academic probation. There was more going on, but it was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. And so it's just like one of those things that's like, okay. And I remember getting back together with one of my girlfriends, and she was like, I thought you was crazy. It didn't make no sense to me. And I was looking at you because, again, it wasn't an instant gratification thing. It took like a year, it took like 2 years, it took like 3 years to hit, like, oh shoot, this is happening. Well, 3 years, of course. But it took a long, no, that's right, it took a long time to get to this thing. And that happened with
Even
family
that's not a
members.
long time.
Yeah. And that happened with family members and stuff too, where it was just like, what is she
What are you
doing?
gonna
Think about the
do?
things that we've done, that people older than us would look and be like, wait, she moved to Houston with what? She went to California with what? When they would literally never, even with the solid plan, even with the good credit, even with the apartment, they would literally never. Nobody would literally leave what they know, even if it's paid for, even if it's handled, and then go somewhere else. And Dana, using you as an example, something so drastic as California, so far away by yourself, and going like, I see something, but her act not trying to convince everybody else to do it too, or you can see your potential. You should move to Houston. If you say you want to go to Nevada, go, if that's where all the gambling is at. It was just like, people use that reference that Dana did, her action, as a seed of inspiration. Because I think about those moments, I was like, if Dana did that and she went through what she went through, but she stayed focused and she woke up each and every day like, God, you told me to come here. God, I'm ready to go. And then, like she said in her previous episodes and stuff, like, days of, I'm getting messages from people like, you supposed to be here. And you like, hold on now. I'm struggling. I'm this, I'm that. And in those things, your action end up being that inspiration of hope that's like, okay, I can keep going, because it was like, I seen it happen. And like you said, some people are grown into it, they see it, etc. But also too, there's instances where your action is that inspiration. It's like, besides trying to tell your friend like, there's so much potential in you, you live up to your potential. Because what happens is, they come over one day, they look and they like, how you do all of this? And it's like, I have conversations with people that's like, no, you can do social media, you should da da da. And they like, well, how? And I'm like, I don't know if you want me to show you bank statements. I don't know if you want me to, but I can't give you that fuel to get up and do the work ethic, but I can't do the work for you either. And I've worked with people who didn't want to do the work, but they thought it should just come, even just being connected. And it's like, yeah, I can do 50 million videos with you, but what happens when I leave? You're not going to be able to keep it up, because you were only doing it because I was doing it. Yeah. And so it's just one of those things that's like, people can see too and get that inspiration and encouragement from your actions, just like people make vision boards with a physical visual, and just like people have mentors and mentors, or just be around that type of stuff.
And I think that was one of my biggest things, because I know I know I be self sabotaging myself. I think now I can put a word to it, but like I know I be like there's stuff I can do and then I should be doing. I'd be like it just be like this not blockage, but like literally like an open cage where it'd be like, even though I've seen it, even though I've been around it, it just be like,
What happens if you go out the cage?
I don't know. That's not, well, okay, I do know. If I go out the cage, that'd be great. But why don't I want to get out the cage? I don't know. I do want to get out the cage, but why won't you get out the cage? It's the question. It's the problem.
I just wanna say this. We are all bound to something. We are all like bound, jailed by something. Okay. So it's not a question of getting out the cage and then going to fly. No, no, no. You just move on to a bigger cage because we're all bound to something. Even Apostle Paul, he says, I am a prisoner of Christ. He was bound to
Mm-hmm.
something, meaning he was locked in a cage called Christ. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Only difference is when you're locked in a prison of your own making, or you're locked in a prison that the devil has trapped you in, you're stuck. You're also chained in that thing. But in the
Mm-hmm.
prison that God has created for you, and that I'm using that word with intention because that's what Apostle Paul said. When you're in that place, you won't be able to tell that you're in prison because it's more for your good than it is. You ever watch Bird Box? When they went through the whole world and everybody was like, we're stuck. What are we supposed to do? Da da da. Where are we supposed to go? Then they went to that place and it was like a garden, and the birds in there like, like they live in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in there, the blind people in there. You see what I'm saying? Like that's what it's like. It's like an oasis. It's like a mirage, but it's real when you're stuck to Christ, when you're bound to Christ. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If y'all know what a yoke is, it's literally like a collar that binds you to
Yeah.
another thing that you share the workload. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you're literally bound to something, and he literally says, "Take my like it's lighter, it's easier." You see what I'm saying? So it's not a question of what you're gonna do when you get quote unquote free. You'll never be free. You just won't be bound to what you used to be bound to. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
bound to freedom itself, because God is
By
freedom. He is
letting go
liberty.
of
Mm.
that's hey Hekaroso. That was but you I love the way that you are able to like bring stuff in full circle. That'd be one of my favorite things, like when we have conversations, because it helps you understand like what you said, like when you know you're in prison versus when you're in a prison that is to harm you versus somewhere that is supposed to like a refuge.
Mm-hmm.
Like if like you said, using these TV shows examples of just like yeah, you can be out in the world free, but y'all are bound to certain areas because there's zombies running around versus there's this camp that keeps you safe up on this hill, hallelujah,
Amen.
that has its boundaries and has its restrictions, but it's for your safety because in here you can move around more freely, that
Hmm.
it becomes a lifestyle that you don't even notice that, oh wow, we're not out there running with the zombies. If you watch Walking Dead, then you know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when they would find sanctuary, it would become so good. Like it's like okay, we could do this, but then
Hmm.
people just be people every time. It'll just be like
I'm gonna have to just
at
watch
this
this. Yeah, you gotta mention it a few times in these
I don't know if
episodes.
you'll like it. It's real gory.
Yeah.
Like really, really gory. Like
Yeah.
head bashing. Like
Oh yeah.
The
it's
slow
it,
mos, the whole yeah.
yeah, like
That's too
and
much.
multi like you're gonna see him
But the
and get
storyline is
pulled out.
good.
Yeah,
But the
the
storyline
storyline
is
is
good.
really, really good.
I can handle when people be doing that snapping.
You ain't gonna get a lot of snapping of the necks. You just gonna see a
But
lot of like
that I don't like that. See, I
Brain.
everything
don't like that
else.
stuff.
You gonna see brains, goop, gop,
Yeah, I
everything.
don't like
Like it
that.
Yeah.
gets real. Episode 1. For real.
Dang.
Yeah, dang, that's good.
I think oh, okay, okay. Here's the other thing. Okay, I'm so glad I remembered because
Me too.
a lot of times people be like a lot of times people be like we're the biggest blockage to God. They go like, oh, the devil is small. And I literally had a conversation with this, and it was like, no, we're God's like biggest opposition. That's it.
Biggest
That's it.
opposition.
Yeah, like we oppose him, like we fight God, like when he calls you for
Mm.
something. And I said, that is false. No. I said the reason that you're fighting, in your words, fighting God is because you're fighting a battle that you were never called to fight, which is why it feels like a fight. You see what I'm saying? Because when
Mm-hmm.
God calls you for something, you don't have a choice. You see what I'm saying? If God
Mm-hmm.
says yes, then no man can say no. And if he says no, then no man can say yes. So if you're fighting to get to a yes, it means God didn't say yes. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're fighting to get to a place of I don't want to do that, meaning you're fighting towards a no, and God said yes, you don't have a choice. If you think about Jonah and the whale, God said yeah, Jonah said no. God said, I don't care. Jonah still went. You see what I'm saying? Like when God says yes, it doesn't matter. When God says no, it doesn't matter. So for people to be like, oh, I'm trying to get to my calling, you're fighting for something you weren't called for. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then to kind of solidify that, because I was thinking about this the other day and I was talking to somebody about it. And I was like, dang, why are the last three things that will remain faith, love, and hope? You know that scripture. These things, these three will remain: faith, love, and hope. And I was like, why those three? And Pablo was teaching about faith and how it's the evidence of a thing, like it's the physical thing, but that it's what your spirit needs. Your spirit you have to live by faith, being that
Mm-hmm.
it's your spirit. So it's like, dang. So if faith is for the spirit, hope must be for your soul, and then I said love must be for your physical, because love is an action. You see what I'm saying? God
Mm-hmm.
loves us by giving to us. He does a thing for us, which is physical. And I was like, hope is wishful thinking, which is like, I wish that we could do this. I wish that I could do that. And that's where a lot of people stay in hope. And then faith is, I know and I go after, because faith is evidence, faith is proof. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, those three, they must remain, because even when you go to heaven, you have to go with your body, your soul, and your spirit, because that's what makes us whole. That's what makes us full. That's after the rapture. The bodies will come back up, and you know what I mean, like the whole
Mm-hmm.
nine. So you have to go with these three. So this is kind of the function of each three. This is the function of each one of the three. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang, that's crazy. But the thing is when you're in a place of hope, it means that your soul, you're trying to get what you've seen, which is why seeing is not enough. You see what I'm saying? You need the evidence of what you've seen for it to be faith. Otherwise, it's just
That's
hope.
good.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, I want a business, but I can't get there. They're right. You can't. And I'm going to be honest with you, respectfully, you probably never will, because you need the faith to get there. Hope ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? It remains because it's the function of your soul, which is God can speak to your soul, because that's the conduit that we have on this earth. But then there are people who are made to be spiritual, that he can speak directly to their spirit, and they have that faith. Like when Apostle Paul was speaking to his son, it was either Timothy or Titus, and he was like, stir up the gift that I gave you by the laying on of hands, and also remember the gift of faith that you inherited from your mother's mother. You see what I'm saying? Like how do you inherit faith? You see what I'm saying? It means like it's genetic for him, that he just had faith because his mother had faith, and she had it because
Mm.
her mother had faith. It's genetic. And so
Transferable faith.
you're trying to implant, you're trying to put something in, not awaken. It's a different thing to awaken a faith in a person, but to try to give them faith, you can't give it to them. It's genetic. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be
It's
careful
in
about the things
us.
that it's literally in you. It's in you, not on you.
But God is the one who can truly awaken it. Someone else can't do that for you. Is that what you're saying? Just to be kind of a circle back, underline it.
I think okay. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's biblical. So, not just hearing the word of God, but by hearing by the
Gotcha.
word of God, meaning you
Mm-hmm.
heard God to then get you to that point, which means in the spiritual son, I can't remember which one it was, Timothy, Titus, whatever one, but that means that his grandmother, she heard from God, and that word stuck through generations. It
Mm-hmm.
became our blood. You see what I'm saying? It became our purpose. Now, the thing is, you might not have faith, but your great, 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 great grandmother might have had faith. You just need to tap into that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
We're noticed by our blood. You see what I'm saying? We're covered
Mm-hmm.
by the blood of Christ. Does that make sense? Like
Mm-hmm.
it speaks better things for us. And our Bible tells us that. The blood of Jesus speaks better things than the blood of Abel.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Which
Yeah,
means that
but
his
he
blood.
speaks through the blood.
Yes, so he's interceding for us because of his blood. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? Like that's why he
Mm.
died for us, and that's why he can. So when it's not that his blood is on the table and it got a tongue and a mouth and it's talking.
Yeah.
No, no, no. He references his blood, because if you send me to hell and I'm saved, I'm a believer, and I've received Christ, he goes, I die for her. My blood. Look at that blood on that altar. Remember that. You see what I'm saying? That's what it means, that we're covered by the blood, not that we're literally drenched in it. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Like he's able to intercede for us because of the blood. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that's what people really are trying to say. when they say we're covered by the blood.
I think what you said goes down to people understanding and doing the studies of the word, because when you sometimes, people be like, well, I read the Bible, I went through that, I know that story. You can go deeper and understand of just the instances of even you saying the blood, how many times in the Bible God has used blood as a symbol that was in very drastic situations of even like, put this blood on the
On
thing.
your door.
I heard your brother's blood call out to me, and then
Mhm.
I gave the, you know what I'm saying? It's just like when you think about these things, it's just like, and the power of just one drop of Jesus's blood
Yeah.
is so powerful.
Do you know
Like,
that blood is a witness?
say it again.
Blood is a witness. So
Talk to me.
spiritually you have like the Holy Spirit, your spirit, and then like angels. They're witnesses against you. The Bible tells you this. Then you also like physically you have blood, water, and wind, I want to say. Like these they tell on you essentially. So when you go like God sees all things, yeah, because somebody's snitching on you. Yeah, they're snitching on you. You see what I'm saying? Your own blood will testify against you. Your own angels who God gave to charge over you to make sure that you don't dash your foot against a stone, they snitch on you because it goes, I made sure she got there. She just didn't do what she was supposed to do when she got there. My job was to get her there. I got her there. So God, that wasn't me because you're not about to get me in trouble because they also get in trouble. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
They also, and we see that with Satan. We see that with when Jacob was like when he was wrestling with that angel. He was like, "Yo, my God, I gotta be back upstairs. You're about to get me in trouble." That was the thing. So here, take it. When he was wrestling with that angel, because they have responsibilities in the same way that we do. They have messages to deliver in the same way that we do. But my point is that you really can't give it to somebody. You really can't. It has to be genetic. So you can pull it out of somebody's bloodline, but that doesn't mean that you'll get it. That might just mean that Daniel might get it. That might mean that Daniel might get it. You see what I'm saying? It just means that it's genetic because what we know is in that same example that Paul is telling him, like, remember the gift of faith that you have, or that genetic faith that you have, and also the gift that I gave you by the laying on of hands. Put those things together, but it doesn't tell you that his mother used it. It doesn't tell you that his great grandmother used it, just that they had it. You see what I'm saying?
It was okay. Got you. Got you. Something too that you said, even with blood, it make you think about a lot of people, like witches and stuff. How they do like the blood offerings, the sacred. Like it just it's so something so simple, like a
Blood
five
is
letter
currency.
word.
I'm screaming. Blood is currency. Blood is
That's
currency.
good.
We were bought with
Wow.
the price. The price of what? Christ's life, his blood. You see what I'm saying? Like blood is money.
Dang, that's
And
good.
that sound
Wow.
real that sound real occultic. I see why they be saying stuff. That sound real crazy. That do sound real crazy. And then also, but it just tells you like even to become a Christian, we do communion representing that we don't actually have to drink blood, but it's literally when you do it and you do it correctly, you're literally drinking Christ's blood every single time. Do this in remembrance of me. And the first time he tells them to do this, that a lot of them left him because they said he on some juju,
He's a
wuju, all
woo.
of that craziness. He said we're not doing it. Then he turned to his apostles and he was like, or his disciples at the time, and he was like, "Y'all gonna leave me too?" And it's like, where are we supposed to go? Who else has it? You know what I'm saying? Who else has it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody else had it. They didn't have it. It means that they lacked faith. They were there by hope. We see that you're doing different things. We see that you can heal people. So let's hope. And unfortunately, this is the place that a lot of the church is at, in a place of hope and not in a place of faith. The good thing is that God came to save your soul. So even if you have hope for salvation, Jesus Christ is our hope of salvation, which means that you received him, which is enough for you to get to heaven. However, you might not be wearing a crown when you get there, but you got there, which is the point.
Come on.
So
Harsh
in
reality.
the
Harsh
so in the
reality.
name of no longer self sabotaging yourself,
No, no, no.
realize what
It's
you
not
got.
okay. Okay, okay. It's not a question of It's not a question of how do I stop self sabotaging myself. You need to check and track your genetic makeup. You see what I'm saying? Like you need to look at your people. You need to look at your history and see, is this something that I really can attain? And then just because, so you need to track it, but then you also need to realize, am I like them? Are these my people? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yeah, because I'm thinking about my own. I'm thinking about my own life, and I'm just like, Dang, girl, you got a lot going on. Cause it literally. Oh my god, I didn't realize how much I was self sabotaging myself. Like it literally is stuff that I'm like, I see. I'm like, I can go here. I got it. But then it kind of like stopped myself. And then even when y'all were describing the whole entrepreneur thing with mom and how we grew up with it, on the other side, on my dad's side, they're very much, go to college, get a job, da 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 da. And y'all know, I look up, I very much do look up to I look up to that side a lot. And so I guess maybe what I'm thinking is maybe like their opinions and what they would think maybe is affecting me of why I'm not pushing myself to go further than what I can go. But then I counter that and I go, it don't really matter. Like, yeah. I don't know, y'all. This life, bro. This life. So
Yeah,
many
I just think
questions.
you have to see your past, meaning see what your parents, your parents' parents, your parents' parents' parents have done on both sides, and then see which one you carry more of. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We all favor mom more, which means we don't really carry our fathers. Even physically, we all look more like mom than we do our other side. And so we
MJ
carry
strong.
more of her and her good and her bad than we do anybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just have to, you're fighting genetics. You just need to know which side is the winning side.
Mm.
Come on, that's
So
good.
do you lean more? You lean more towards that winning side?
You lean more
Mm,
towards your genetic makeup is the point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
if it's
what the winning
okay,
if
side. That's
you
what I was saying.
okay,
whatever
okay,
you have, I mean winning not in terms of, oh, this looks best to me. No, you need to go with what you have more of. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's what I was trying to say though.
okay.
Yeah. But then
That's
also,
good.
because here's the thing, not everybody needs to be entrepreneurs. If you are an entrepreneur, don't you need
Yeah,
people to work at your business?
come on.
Mm.
So you need to stop telling people to be entrepreneurs.
Cause what we gonna do if everybody at McDonald's
Just
say I'm done?
pay them good money though. Pay them people a living wage. Give them bonuses. You know what I'm saying? But also like, nah, because a
Be for
worker is
real.
worth his wages. But you need, which means you need workers. Even God needs
Mm.
laborers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Somebody got to
Let's
do it.
talk about it.
Well,
Somebody got to do it.
I think this was good. This was a good topic. Give me some things to self reflect on. And this was juicy, honestly. If you, like I said in the other episode, if you don't leave here a changed person, what you doing? What you doing? If y'all have nothing else, I I think this was good. Um, if y'all have any questions, comment, concerns, anything that may have touched y'all in y'all heart and made y'all really think about it, comment down below because we love hearing from y'all. Y'all really don't be saying nothing. Like, what's up? You got a problem? But with that being said, make sure you guys tune in for our Monday lives. The episode drops every Friday at
Every
3
single Friday.
p.m. Email us at bsfrcast@gmail.com if y'all got any mocha letters, got any topic ideas. Y'all can always just comment on the video too. That's an option. But we love y'all. We hope y'all have a good rest of y'all year. And I don't know. I feel like this was something good to kick off y'all year. All
Hmm.
right. All right. Well, we'll see y'all later. Bye.